call the Palo Verde College Board of Trustees regular board meeting of Tuesday, October 13th, 2020 to order. Please stand with me and salute our flag. I pledge allegiance
to the
Flag.
United States God,
for which it stands, one nation.
with liberty and justice for all.
sorry about that, folks. I dropped you guys halfway through.
All right, we knew what to say.
All right. There we go. All right, folks, Palo Verde College Board of Trustees welcomes you to the board meeting today. While our community is under public meeting restrictions and stay-at-home orders issued by state and local authorities, our board meetings will be accessible to members of the public via the Zoom, telephone, and YouTube live streaming. Board members will be participating from remote locations, and there is no physical location from which members of the public may attend. Any public comments received via email up to a half an hour before the start of the meeting will be read into the official record by the meeting moderator. These temporary modifications to the public meeting law have been authorized by executive order from the governor. Until further notice, our board meetings will be held in this manner. Our board is committed to the continued education and safety of our students, faculty, staff, and community. We thank you for your patience and understanding during this difficult time, and we will now begin our meeting. All right, Ms. Mullion, roll call, please.
Mr. Arneson,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Present.
Mr. Ramirez,
Here.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Dyers,
Here.
Dr. Thomas,
Here.
Mr. Dean,
Here.
Dr. Wallace,
Here.
Mr. Smith, Ms. Slagan,
Here.
All right, at this time, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the regular meeting minutes for September 8th, 2020.
So moved.
I've got a motion and a second. Any comments or further comments, questions, anything about it? Hearing none. Ms. Mullion?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Ms. Dyers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
I'll now entertain a motion for the approval of the September 22nd special meeting minute.
I move to approve.
I've got a motion and a second, please.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none. Ms. Mullion?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Dyers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of tonight's agenda.
Move to approve.
I've got a motion and a second.
Second.
Questions, comments, concerns? Anything we need to move around or adjust? Hearing none. Ms. Mullion?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Dyers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to 1.7, announcement of recusal from any agenda items. Any board members have anything they can't vote on tonight? Any discussion matter they can't participate in for various reasons? All right, hearing none, we'll move on. Section number 2, hearing of citizens on agenda items. Ms. Mullion, do we have any letters tonight?
yes, we do.
Okay.
The first one is from Scott Dean. The subject is letter for the board meeting tonight. Hello, It seems the now infamous College Board did what should not have been done. I wonder if the board members really considered the ramifications of their votes on the issues they vote on. It seems to me that the only person who really thinks about the votes that will be made is Mrs. Stiers. One of your most dedicated employees signed his resignation paperwork and left employment with the college. Rumor is that he will be very difficult to replace. And the guy doing his job now apparently is not as skilled and not a strong leader, especially since his wife is his secretary and she is doing his job by telling his underlings what to do. I warned the board about nepotism, and soon you will see its adverse consequences. Why do you think 3 other dedicated employees left your employ? You and the college have a real problem. I tried to warn you, but obviously you did not listen. What will the board do about this problem? It needs to not only be addressed, but action must be taken to correct it. With all respect, Scott Dean. And the next one is from Alice Dean. The subject is Board Meeting 13, October 2020. Dear Board and staff of Palo Verde College, I was looking at the items on the agenda and noticed a possible problem in the budget and had some clarification questions. First, in the budget, it shows CalWorks goal function 6410-000 and TANF the same 6410-0000. I believe TANF goal function should be 6960000. And she sent an image. Second, I noticed the bookstore funds and am curious about this since there is no longer a bookstore on campus. I do know that I and others order books from our school funds from our students, acting like a bookstore, quote unquote, for each of our departments. But I am just wondering, what does this apply to? And then she refers to an image that she sent of the budget. And finally, the lawns, new carpet, and handicap parking stalls look nice. Sincerely, Alice Dean, citizen and CalWorks clerk. That's the end of our public comment.
Okay. Those have both been read into the official recordings for this evening. And we'll be moving right along. Thank you. Okay. Section 3, reports. We'll start with CCA, CCT, Richard Castillo.
Good evening, Board. Just a couple of things to report here on some union activities, and they may not be that big of a deal, but every little bit helps. So Mr. Smith convened the academic calendar committee to develop a calendar, academic calendar per our contract and all, and one had been settled on, and the CTA representatives worked along with it, and we got something up for proposal to the board for later on. And I just want to thank Mr. Smith for his work on that and getting it shelled out. Another little hiccup that we had, just a little hiccup, was just an extension of full-time faculty evaluations that Mr. Smith brought to my attention, and we worked it out to where our full-time faculty evaluations for the fall will be completed on schedule, with just a little extension to get some work done because of a couple of delays in deliveries from the prisons and all for the surveys for the faculty. And Dr. Wallace gave it his little blessing and everything, and so everything should be moving along right about now. Other than that, are there any questions that the board may have for me? Anything concerning the CTA? No.
Anything from the board? I've got nothing right now.
Okay, I yield the rest of my time to Miss Sarah Frid.
In that case, we'll move along to the academic senate. Ms. Fred, please.
Good evening, everyone. For the Academic Senate, I am so excited to report that all 69 courses that were listed in the PVC Distance Education Addendum submitted to the Chancellor's Office in August have all been approved for the modality changes through our local curriculum process as of last Thursday. So you can expect to see them on the November board agenda subject to your approval, and then they'll be sent to the Chancellor's Office. And I would like to take a moment to specifically thank June Turner, our faculty curriculum chair, for her exceptional work to get this done. The work of a curriculum chair is always heavy. It is always just layers upon layers of rules, processes, and meetings that are critical to the foundation of what we do here. However, the work of a curriculum chair with an abbreviated timeline for about 70 courses requires exceptional skill and care, and June Turner deserves special recognition for that. So I really wanted to publicly thank her. In correlation to this work, PVC will be publishing one of our largest, if not the largest, catalog addendum for all the courses that receive approval through this board and the Chancellor's Office in the coming months. And we will be offering our largest selection of online and hybrid courses to date this spring, which is rather exciting. Last month, I spoke to you about the early scheduling that we did to prepare for the spring 2021 classes, which has now been published a full month earlier than in prior years, so yay. With the intentional strategic planning that went into this schedule, we expect very, very few changes will be necessary, and it will serve as an opportunity to build back some trust from those students and community members that had their fall term shaken up beyond their expectation. Last month, I also spoke with you regarding the myriad of pervasive and
Sarah, you went mute.
I apologize. Too
No,
many hand motions. Okay. Since that meeting, the interim VP of Instruction and Student Services, William Smith, has embarked on a large-scale inquiry on our scheduling and textbook processes, what we are doing, when, why, and how it's impacting student success. And he's partnered with a cross-section of the constituencies and departments, including Academic Senate, but also CTA, the Director of A&R, the Associate Dean of Counseling, instructional services staff, and the educational staff at ISP and CVSP, and probably others that I've errantly forgotten. But these people were brought together to help identify key questions, key stakeholders, and what might be some key solutions. And we are still in the thick of the discussion and brainstorming and bringing in more people to vet those ideas. But with all of that totally up in the air, we still have a solid win to celebrate. And I wanted to bring that to you. And the win is how this is happening. Willie's process has been really a powerful one that's likely to result in lasting and highly impactful changes for everyone involved because of the solution-oriented and collaborative approach, where he is always asking the questions, who do we need in the room? Who is the expert in this area? And what do we need to do to get this accomplished? And so I really want to thank Mr. Smith for this path, moving things forward. And finally, my last point is the work that we did this past Friday during Institute Day, an all-hands review and discussion for the draft of the PVC COVID-19 Safe Reopening Plan. It was tedious, but it was really wonderful to see in print the outline of what we need to consider in order to start opening our doors again that honors the safety and education of our community in equal parts. The VP of Administrative Services, Stephanie Slagan, did a great job of allowing lots of time for discussion in our constituency groups, providing a demo for a piece of software which may or may not work for us, and moderating the input that was generated from each group. The faculty really appreciate the approach of listening to all the stakeholder concerns together and folding those into the plan. either with a solution proposed during the meeting or a pledge to research a viable solution and bring it back to everyone. Similar to Willie's approach that I spoke of earlier, this very public and open discussion that allowed for different perspectives to build upon each other or identify an important gap resonates deeply with faculty. It would have been very easy to email out the document to PVC everyone and ask for email feedback, which would have significantly diminished the important cross-constituency intersection of how we work as an institution. I think that the faculty and the employees at large probably would have benefited from getting the draft document prior to Wednesday evening, but it's really good to know that the district is not rushing through this and that we are going to continue to meet and edit the plan until it's ready. And so, Stephanie, I really wanted to thank you for arranging this thoughtful and transparent process. Until next time, you can expect faculty to be working on our midterm grades, ironing out textbook issues, guiding students via email and Zoom, and developing our syllabi for next term. This concludes my report. Any questions before I go?
That's a very interesting report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. All right, CSEA, Chapter 180, President Richard Soto or his designee. Not here tonight. Let's move on. Associated Student Body Government, Mr. Jared Dean, please.
Yes, I sort of have a comment to Mrs. Frid regarding the catalog. Sort of a comment, sort of a request. When I was earlier this semester signing up for classes, I knew it'd be all primarily online, but there's a little bit of there's wording that says correspondence, distance ed, and internet in the catalog and on student services. And I just found it a little confusing, the difference between the three. And then that's really the only comment that I have.
So just to clarify, that I take back your feedback correctly, you would like there to be distinct definitions for distance ed, online, and correspondence. Is that correct?
Yes.
Don't use them interchangeably. Let's just stick to simplified terminology. I can definitely bring that back to our team. Thank you for that feedback.
Thank you. And so on to my report. For the past months, we've been doing the student groceries, and that's been very helpful to many families around the community. We've been working with a couple Fridays ago, there was around 64 families that showed up, 180 total people for the groceries. And then student handbooks are being sent out to various points around the community. Student workers have returned to campus in a limited capacity, and they'll be showing up later on the agenda. And we've also started a Halloween pumpkin contest. So anyone who's interested in carving their pumpkin and sending it, there's an announcement that went out to everyone, and everyone's welcome to participate in that. And that concludes my report tonight.
Mr. Dean, thank you very much. All right, 3.5, Superintendent President, Dr. Wallace.
Yeah, just a couple of comments. One, I wanted to call attention to the fact that since March, the campus has been closed. We've had a sign out front that indicated that the campus was closed due to the public health orders for COVID-19. And recently, the county Office of Public Health and California Department of Public Health, they both revised the regulations for higher education. So we're calling the campus limited access. And we're asking people if they think they need access to the campus to call in. And if they get permission to come on, then they can come on. But we do have some limited access on campus for students and others. And just have to call in and get particulars of what your need is. The other thing I want to mention is that Interim Vice President Smith is off doing other duties, so he's not with us, but his report is attached. And then the Dean of the Needle Center, Lolly, also had a little problem at her home, and she's having to take care of a water heater problem. So, but her report is also attached.
Yes. All right. Doc, is that about it?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Mr. Smith, you made it back. Time for your turn, 3.6.
Okay, thank you. And I'd like to thank Sarah, and much thanks for Sarah and Richard's kudos this evening. I appreciate that. Kind of emotional there. Thank you. Just briefly, I usually am. Irma and Stephanie and myself been working with Bill Clark, and that's going to appear on your agenda this evening. He's working on a grant for us. The grant is called Institutional Resilience. It's kind of a tongue twister, an expanded post-secondary opportunity grants program. And the purpose of this grant is to provide financial support to institutions of higher education with the greatest number of unmet needs related to COVID-19. And the closing date for this grant will be October 20th. And perhaps later Stephanie may elaborate a little bit more detail on that. Richard talked about the calendar. We worked together on that, and hopefully it will come to you. This calendar will come to you in the next board meeting. I met with Rachel Angel, the principal of the high school, along with the educational advisor Celeste Velarde this past week to discuss our CTE courses down there, and we're trying to open up the possibility of, and hopefully we can, of offering our CTE courses here the same as we has in the past with some modification, maybe making some hybrid. Irma's had her team working on a 2-year educational plans for the students. So she's met with her counselors to put that together. Bijou has been working, trying to get eLumen up and running for the SLOs. And that also appears on your board agenda this evening for approval. And one final note, it's good to see that we have student workers back on campus, and they seem to be glad to be here. They're happy to work. They're smiling and they're friendly. And so it's really enlightening to see them back here on campus. And that's the end of my report.
William, you've been very busy. I appreciate that. And so this board, you're doing a fine job.
Thanks, sir. I couldn't do it without the people that I have. They're just been fantastic in trying to move this forward. So hopefully we can continue at the rate of speed we're going.
Yeah, but the boss up with you.
Thank you.
Mucha suerte, hermano.
All right, 3.7, Vice President Administrative Services, Mrs. Slagan.
Hello. So we've been finishing up a lot of construction. If you've been to the main campus, you'll see all the handicap parking stalls, or the cement is being poured for that, and that will finish up the current projects on campus. We still are waiting from DSA to look at the counseling center. So as soon as we get approval for that, we'll have that out to bid. We have our job walk in Needles tomorrow for the mezzanine project. So once we do that, it'll close later on, and hopefully bring that to you by the next board meeting. We're hoping construction can start on the mezzanine project in January. We've been working on our annual 311 report, which tells the state how we spent our money for last year. We also have the budget attached for this year. I'd like to address the 2 items that were brought up by Ms. Dean. One of them is the CalWorks TANF goal function. Those are in the back of the board report, or I'm sorry, in the back of the budget. As a resource guide, that did not that will not affect what was entered as our budget in Galaxy. Galaxy is our financial system.
Okay.
So those two things are separate. And then the bookstore funds, some of you may remember when we had a bookstore on campus. When we closed the bookstore on campus, we decided to leave the money in the bookstore account as kind of like a savings account. We didn't want to utilize that money or spend that money just in case sometime in the future we needed to move it out. So it has always stayed in there gaining interest. We do not spend any funds out of those funds for any purpose. So it is at the board's guidance that if we wanted to do something else with that and move it into a different savings, but those are really truly treated as savings account. We also have on the board for you the cash flow analysis for last month. We're still continuing to gain funds in the cash flow. Last month, we ended the month at 10.9 million. Again, this month, we ended the month at 12.7 million. As stated before, you're going to see this increase over the next several months until December. We're going to get all of our money from the Chancellor's office by December/January, and then we will not receive any funds from the Chancellor's office for the second half of the year. So as we climb through December with our funds, you'll start to see in January that cash flow amount go down. So we'll continue to watch that, see what our spending is like, and really look at our cash flow to make sure that we can continue to pay our bills and different things like that. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Stephanie, I went through the budget, the proposed budget, and it's simple to follow. You've done a very good job in displaying the figures and explaining, and it's very impressive. Thank you.
And if not, Stephanie, thank you very much. Moving right along, 3.8 is been turned in writing from Lolly. So we'll move it down to 3.9, Board of Trustees. We'll start with Needles tonight, Mr. Rehnquist.
Okay?
You got anything tonight for the board?
No.
No. All right, Mr. Gonzalez.
Everything's going all right over here, so let's keep up the good work as far as the college is concerned. We're moving very well, and a lot of people are doing fine work over there, a lot of the staff people.
All right, Mr. Ramirez.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Night. In that case, Dr. Thomas.
Nothing tonight.
Nothing tonight. And Ms. Stiers.
Just a short one. I just wanted you to know that I had zoomed in one of the parent project River Consortium class, and it was very informative. I even got some pointers out of it, and I just wish more parents would be involved in it. It was the one in the Needles. It was a really good presentation. That's it.
All right. Well, thank you. And I don't have too much tonight. I just wanted to take a second to thank everybody for the amount of work and the good job that's gone on. Especially noted to Ms. Sarah Freed, June Turner, Willie Smith, Stephanie Slagan, and Rich Castillo. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate the amount of work and everything that's gone into that, and the collaboration amongst each other. It's outstanding. Good job, and keep it up. Brings us to section number 4, public hearing for the Palo Verde Community College District on the budget. All right. Okay, let me get myself in order here. So Ms. Mullion, a question to you. Do we need to just open a public hearing session?
You're asking Carrie, who you're asking?
Yes. Ms. Mullion, Carrie?
Yes, you open the public hearing, take comments, and then close the public hearing.
Okay. In that case, we'll proceed with that. So what I'll do at this time, I will officially open the public hearing session on the budget for 2021 financial budget. And that'll be open right now at 5:30 p.m. on October, 13th. So the prior written in comments from Mrs. Dean have been noted in the official record and have been addressed in a prior topic from Mrs. Slagan. So as long as those comments get in there, do we have any other comments from anybody in the public regarding the proposed budget? All right, hearing none, I will now act 1 minute later to close the public hearing on the budget. Brings us down to agenda section number 5, item number 5.1, the financial aid program review. Ms. Mendez.
Good evening, board, administrators, everyone watching. Thank you for the opportunity so that I could present my program review. I do want to point out that there are a couple of, I'm going to say discrepancies on page 4 and the top of page 5. When it comes to the financial resources and the budget amount for financial aid, the dollar amount that's actually in here is not correct. When I get to that though, I'll explain it. So the purpose of the program review, as we all know, is so that everybody knows what's supposed to be happening and whatnot. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to go through it. The population we served are students on main campus and also the students over in Needles, as well as our incarcerated students. Accomplishments in achieving goals. We'd like to increase the number of students that we serve, decrease the number of funds that we return to the Department of Education, that is called Return to Title IV, and decrease the number of students on academic warning. We would like to increase the students that receive state, regional, and regional scholarship awards, serve more students that are foster youth, homeless youth, dreamers, and veterans, as well as some of our ESL students. Some of our DreamAct students are actually eligible to receive some of the state funds. Our strengths and weaknesses, there's a list of them here. We would like to be able to attend more of the trainings, encourage the staff to participate in the activities. Of course, right now, and I'm sorry, let me go back and say that this is a program review from the year 2019. So it's based on the budget for 2018-19. This is like, as I was saying, right now with COVID and all, that's something that we have not been able to do, even though we have participated on events that have happened off of campus. And that's basically the meals that are given to our students. It says list and comment of major weaknesses. It's lack of staff. Currently, the financial aid department is short 2 employees. We have always had 4 staff members, and then the director makes up, and that's 5. We have been moving along. We have tried to do what we possibly can to make sure that we take care of our students in a timely fashion. We also need additional workspace. There's tends to be a lack of student privacy when we meet with them regarding different matters, whether it is going over their financial aid or when the students are on warning status. It's not private to be able to sit at the window and discuss the their personal things as what is causing them not to be able to be successful in their education. Lack of funding, due to lack of funding, and we are not able to hire additional staff, and the staff is also not able to attend the proper trainings and the conferences to help them with professional development. Our service area outcomes, it says students to have a better comprehension of the federal rules and regulations pertaining to federal awards. And this would decrease the number of students that are processed for a return to Title IV. Financial aid department will provide services to the maximum number of eligible students. Number of students filtered through the Palo Verde College Choice Program. This is a program that the foundation sponsors, and they actually pay for the students' enrollment for the first semester that they attend. Page 3, it shows organizational chart. And this was back from 2018. It shows that right under the director is the financial aid technician, and that position has actually been vacant since December of last year. So this has actually put stress on my technician too. And she's having to process all of the files on her own. And I have also pitched in and helped her with as much as I possibly can. But being that this is the time of year, the fall semester is always the time when all of our reports are due to the federal government. It, puts a little hindrance in us, me being able to help her with all of that. Listed also are the different meetings and conferences that staff and administrators from the financial aid department should attend. And I'm not going to go through and read all of those. Current facilities adequate to support the program. There is nothing for me to put there. I've already mentioned we do need additional room, but before we would need additional space to put someone, we would actually need the staff. Technology and equipment. We're in the process of implementing Campus Logic. This was 2 years ago. We actually were able to implement it. We were started to do that in January of this year. We were actually able to implement this 2 months ago, and it has been quite challenging because doing this virtually has not worked out, being that the technicians and the people were not able to come to campus to assist us. We are still working on that. Lamar and Adam have been assisting us with that as well. And right here where it says the financial resources, their financial aid has 2 different budgets. We have one which is the BFAP funds, and that's a categorical fund. BFAP stands for Board Financial Assistance Program, and we get X amount of money from that. For the 2018-19 year, we received $150,980, and then the district has a match, and they that was $256,745. And for that year, we actually overspent $26,901. So the district actually, their part was $283,686. And that information is all from the SARC report that I submit to the chancellor's office every year. That's where I got the actual dollars and amounts. This only shows some of the funds. It doesn't show everything there. Our 4-year plan was to happen in 2019-20. We were supposed to receive additional funding for consulting and for self-service so that we could go live, $1,000 for colleagues for the programming support and $4,000 for financial setup support. For the 2021 year, we were to receive an additional Tech 2 position, and that would take us up to 1 Tech 3, 2 Tech 2s, and 1 Tech 1. And then fiscal resources, an additional $1,000 for follow-on self-service consulting. And we didn't have anything put down for the 2021-22 year, but for the 22-23 year, the state technology funds that we received, the grant covering the campus logic is going to run out, and those funds would need to be augmented in order for us to be able to continue that, using that program. And actually Campus Logic is a program that helps us with our verification process. And then all of the rest is there. It's just the board reports that I submit to our VP on a monthly basis. One of the things that I would like to say, just a comment that I would like to make, I would like to thank Mr. Smith. I know that he had other things, obligations that he had to tend to, but I would really like to thank Mr. Smith, because anything that I have actually said that I have needed for my department, he has taken charge and he has made sure that he's delivered. Any questions for me?
I have none. Do any of the board members have questions for Ms. Mendez?
I went through your program there, and it's very good, very impressive. But I keep looking at the picture in your back, behind you. Is that Jerome?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, my wife was born in Jerome, and her graduating class was the last one to graduate from high school there.
Ah, well, we watched it on TV, HCTV or whatever, HGTV, and they were doing a lot of remodels, and my husband had been bugging me for a really long time that he wanted to visit there. So we went up there one winter, which was a mistake because there was snow all over the place, but it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Very cold.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Thank you.
With no other questions, Ms. Mendez, thank you very much and good job. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along. Section 6 is discussion. Topic 6.1, board policy number 2725, board member compensation.
So you might recall we had this on from the last meeting. Excuse me, my voice is kind of croaky tonight. I put it back on just for a final. There weren't any recommended changes. The two questions I left with you last time were whether the board wanted their 5% increase, which is allowed by Ed Code, and secondly, whether you wanted to change the way that you're reporting the excused absences. The board policy and Ed Code have defined 4 reasons for excused absences, meaning you'd be paid for those absences. Whether you're out on official business for the district, you're out sick, you're on jury duty, or there is a hardship that's deemed acceptable to the board. My staff tell me it would be very simple to track that for you, but those are the 2 questions I have for you. No one responded since the last time, whether you want to raise or whether you want to change the way you're tracking your absences.
My thought on the raise would be just to leave it until we get at least through the Corona thing and figure out the new funding formula. That would be my thought. It's open to discussion with all the board members, of course, but just my thought would be just status quo for right now, for tonight, and just leave it. And as far as how we handle our absences, I haven't had any major problems with them in my experience. Any other board members have anything to add?
I agree with what you're saying, President, and I think we need to leave it status quo at this point.
I agree.
All righty. This is the last time you'll see it until next year.
And then we'll have, our board will be made up of different people by next year too, so that maybe something we should, got terms ending and whatnot. So, yeah.
I have no comments because I won't be around next year, so it's
Well, all right then. All right, well, Doc, thank you. We'll keep on pushing.
Okay.
Moves us up to number 7, information items. 7.1, Vice Board policies and administrative procedures.
Right. So basically the comment here, let me see if I'm still talking. You have 2 board policies. This will be your first read on those. BP 3430 and BP 3433. You'll see those again next time in November for your second read and approval on those two. The APs, of course, are just on here for information. I would point out that in all of these, the only changes that have been made are changes that were recommended by the league model policies. When we get updates from them, we update our policies, with the exception of AP 3720. We did add a section in there on security protocols, and there were some things that were required from the league as well. And AP 3720, a little slight revision of the, so 3720 has to do with network and computer use on campus. And then 3720-1 is the student version of that. So those two were updated slightly, but other than that, the changes are all required changes.
All right, everyone's had a chance to read these and go over them in their entirety, and do we have any questions or specific discussion on any one in particular or anything?
Well, it gives a good protocol for all the actions going to be taking place in case there is some harassment, you know. It's just pretty well defined.
I think regarding the student emails, I think that maybe some more communication could be put out to students, because I think the resources that are afforded them with the student email are going underutilized. Because I've been a student for 3 years now at least, and I didn't know until this semester that I had access to the Microsoft Office and Microsoft Word and that type of thing.
Thank you.
Dr. Wallace, I have a question on 3430. The red lines, is that going to be deleted? That's going to be deleted. The verbiage on there is going to be deleted, and next time we come back, it'll be final.
Yeah, very good question. Thank you for that. Yeah, the red ones are the deletes and the green ones are the additions. When you see it next time, it'll still have those in there. It'll still be draft next time, but it'll be for your approval with those changes.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, any more discussion on board policies or administrative procedures? All right. So 7.2, reported purchases and warrants for September 2020. I had a chance to go over these. Questions, comments, or concerns on those?
We're doing fine financially.
Yeah. Yep. We just keep an eye on it. All right. 7.3 is the cash flow analysis. Ms. Slagan, do you have anything you wanted to add on this?
Unmute yourself, Ms. Slagan.
Just that, just a reminder that the first or the second page is general fund dollars. Those are unrestricted dollars. So we have about 10.2 million in unrestricted general fund dollars, and then about 2.4 in restricted categorical dollars, which gives us the 12.755 total in cash on hand.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments on this? If not, I would like to reiterate Mr. Gonzalez's comment from earlier. It's easy to read. It's at a glance. It's a nice document, Stephanie. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving right along. 7.4. Consultatory agreement with West Ed provide services to the River Consortium. Everyone's had a chance to go through that?
Sure.
Okay. In that case, 7.5. The president has accepted resignations for Teresa Seasai. She decided to take that of the job and move along. Okay. Claudia Delgado and Shad Lee. We wish these three people the absolute best in whatever they decide to do. Any other questions or comments on 7.5?
No questions.
All right. 7.6 brings us to out-of-state travel. And Hal Bravo Reese has traveled and has upcoming travel all over the place, it looks like. All departments for medical questions, comments, concerns on that. All right. In that case, as usual, our training opportunities are listed as 7.7. So you got CCLC and ACCT offering all kinds of training, all kinds of webinars and everything else. Everyone's had a chance to go through these or at least take a look, see what's interesting, brush up on things that, on areas you may be weak in or you may try to access more knowledge on. Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, moving on. Agenda item number 8, the consent calendar. Please keep in mind that a blanket motion at the end can cover all the consent items. So we'll cover them one by one, and then when we get to the end, we'll ask for motion. So 8.1 is special student admissions for the fall. Everyone's had a chance to go through that?
Yes.
No problem there. All right.
Good for 14 students, 9 to 10. That's great.
Good. Here's the eLumen professional services agreement that we were talking about earlier with the guided pathways and
SLO.
what's that?
SLO.
SLOs. That's the word or acronym I was looking for. Okay. Any other discussion on that? All right. Clinical agreements for the nursing program. Palo Verde Hospital, Head Start, La Paz Regional, Post-Acute, Del Pueblo Family Health, Mom's House Hope Center, and the college itself. I had a chance to go through those. In that case, I'll ask for a motion to approve our consent calendar.
I move.
I have a motion. I'll entertain a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further comments or discussion we need to have on the consent calendar? Hearing
I have
none.
a question.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dean, Jared, go ahead.
Is for the student workers, is that a complete list, or is it still going to be updated?
That's a complete list for this meeting.
And as
Okay.
we hire them, we continue adding a different list.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Ms. Bland?
Yes, Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean.
Yes.
Okay. Agenda item number 9 is an action item for the instruction. And this is the approval of the financial aid and annual program review done by Mrs. Mendez earlier. At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
I move.
Got a motion. I'll entertain a second.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any further questions, comments, discussion we need to have on the?
I just have one question, please. Ms. Mendez, so we're approving the last year, 2019?
She might have, oh, there she is.
I'm here. I've been watching the board meetings for quite some time, being that I'm running for school
you
board
are.
myself. So yes, I've taken it on. I said, I've been watching board meetings here and I've been watching board meetings there. I said, I've been comparing the two, and I'm quite, I like when you engage and ask questions. So I'm hoping that, you know, I can do the same thing whenever someone has a question for me. And I don't hesitate to ask them, or actually not even just for me, you know, for the board, or that I open my mouth and ask questions about whatever it is that's brought to the table. This is the board review. It was for the 2019 annual program review. And it had income information, or the information from the 2018-19 fiscal year.
And so then we'll see another one next year for.
That is correct.
Review for 20. Okay, I see. Thank you.
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay, is there any other discussion? In that case, Mrs. Billion.
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
Jared, was that a yes or a no?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Brings us down to action item agenda item number 10, action items for business. All right. 10.1, approval of the budget for this year. I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Got a motion, a second.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Further questions, comments, or discussion on the budget? Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Absolutely, yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
All right. Agenda item number 10.2, independent contractor agreement with Alice Martinegra for the BRN flexibility study. This is for strong workforce. This time I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
We've got a motion. I'll entertain a second.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Further questions, comments, or concern? Hearing none. Mrs. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
All right. 10.3, continued funding application for PVCCD Child Development Center for the fiscal year 21-22. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
I've got a motion. I'll entertain a second.
Second.
Questions, comments, concerns on 10.3? Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
Okay, 10.4, Clark and Associate, US DOE CARES Act, IREPO grant writing. This is what Mr. Smith brought up earlier. I'll entertain a motion for 10.4.
I move.
Got a motion. I'll entertain a second.
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 I've got a motion and a second. Further questions, comments, or concerns? All right, hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
All right, 10.5, agreement for consultation services with Mr. Jonathan Martin. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
I've got a motion. I'll entertain a second.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further questions, comments, or discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
10.6, the Educational Protection Act report funds the revision for 19 and 20. I'll entertain a motion.
I move.
And
Second.
second. All right, questions, comments, or concerns?
There's a lot of money going out there, but it's worth it.
There's a lot of money. Yeah. All right. Ms. Million.
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
10.7, contract with Blythe Mart Pharmacy for COVID-19 testing. I'll entertain a motion.
I move.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Questions, comments, concerns?
Does that include board members also? The testing?
Ceci?
If you're exposed, yes, you do. You are
Okay.
part of it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Always a good idea.
Any other discussion? Questions, comments? Hearing none. Ms. Million.
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
10.8, an agreement with RCOE for system support for the fiscal year 1920. I'll entertain a motion.
I move.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second for the discussion. Hearing none. Ms. Million.
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
10.9, the GASB 73, 74, 74.5 architectural reports. I'll entertain a motion.
I move.
I've got a motion, a second, please.
Second.
Got a motion, a second. Questions, comments, concerns?
You know, I was looking at the number of employees that we have that are include that and their ages. And it seems like 45 to 50 some is the bulk of our employees there. So that means probably that in some 10 years from now, you're going to have a whole lot of people, if they keep on working with the district, they're going to be retiring.
Yep.
So the good news about that is that we do this actuarial study and we set funds aside in a OPEB account so that when those employees do retire, that we have funds available to fill their post-retirement needs.
That's a good plan. It's a good plan to start now because you're going to have a large group.
Yep. Anything else under discussion on that? Hearing none. Ms. Million.
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers, Ms. Stiers,
Stella, you're. there you go.
Yes.
thank you. Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
All right. Brings us down to section 11, action items personnel. Topic 11.1, employment contract for interim associate dean of nursing and allied health, Dr. Teresa Baker. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I
Uh,
second.
We've got a motion and a second. Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none. Ms. Million.
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
Okay. Section number 12, action items miscellaneous. 12.1 is the approval of the Board of Trustees self-evaluation, the goals for 2021. I'll entertain a motion.
I move.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Questions, comments, concerns?
I think the board
Hearing none, Ms. Moy.
has done a very good year's work with approving what the administration and our teachers are doing. I think it's a good self-evaluation for us.
All right, anything else? Ms. Moyen?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
All right. 12.2, acceptance of the CEO goals for 2021. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any questions, comments, concerns?
I have something to ask the board that, or tell the board, or inform or whatever. I was talking with Dr. Wallace not too long ago, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, about our financial situation here in Palo Verde Community College, which is very good. But it's going to be a time now, I think, that we need to look for outside sources of income. There are many, the money is out there. We just, probably we need to go after that money that's out there, because some firms and industries might be willing just to help us out with some kind of help in order to get some more, especially in the career training programs. So I'll be looking forward to that as part of the goals that CEO has. And Dr. Wallace has already told me that he's started that already. So that's good. We need to give him a lot of support on that.
Yes, we do. Anything else? Any other comments? Hearing none. Ms. Moyen?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
Okay. 12.3 is the order of the superintendent president. Safety for the limited class offerings. I'll entertain a motion.
I move.
We've got a motion, a second, please.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Questions, comments, concerns for the discussion?
It's good to see you're going to start some classes face to face again.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. All right, Ms. Mullion.
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
Okay. All right, number 13, section number 13 of our agenda tonight is hearing of citizens on non-agenda items. Do we have anybody that wants to address the board via Zoom? All right, we'll proceed on to number 14, be closed session.
So we'll be adjourning because there's no report out, adjourning to closed session.
All right, this time we'll adjourn to closed session.
Yep.
Do we just sit tight? Lamar takes us in?
Yep.
All right.